Hi. So today we're going to be making this very beautiful dinner gown. It's fast, it's easy. If you want something urgent, this is the right video for you. And it took less than 2 hours to actually make everything together. And just keep watching. Remember to subscribe, share, like, comment, whatever you want to do. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with our basic block pattern. If you watch my previous video, you'll see you can go and watch how to make this basic pattern. Very easy, very fast. And in the video, I actually said I was going to be making an asymmetric gown and top with it. This is actually not what I had in mind. I'm still going to make that later on, but this actually worked perfectly for it. So I'm just going to be putting my block pattern and arranging it so that everywhere turns out nice. As you can see, I have an allowance at the side, but I don't have for the neck, shoulder, and the arm curve. So I'm just pinning this down now. I actually enjoyed myself here. Anyway, that's besides the point. So I'm just going to pin that down. Pin it down round just so it doesn't move around. And remember, we're cutting on fold, meaning your fabric has to be folded into two. And that way, this is the front pattern. That way we'll have two sides for the front. And I'm just going around and taking 1/2 inch for the neck allowance. We are going to use to fold this in so everything turned out very neatly. Doing the same for the shoulder and for the armhole. So again, 1/2 inch for all the sides. You can actually take this measurement when you're making your pattern, but I think I prefer this method. So I'm just taking the dart measurement and the waist measurement and I'm cutting that out. So this took about 2 hours to make. Very easy, very quick. I had a wedding to attend very urgently, so I just made this gown. And now that I'm done doing that, I'm just putting the dart line. I would advise not to do this. I was trying to take the easy way out, but just watch and see. You'll see I will correct my mistake later on. So again, this is the back pattern and I'm just pinning this down just like I did the front. So I'm taking the measurements again, the neck measurement, the shoulder measurement, and the armhole measurement. Remember, the difference between the back and the front is, okay, there are a lot of differences, but one of the main differences is the zipper allowance. So we're just going to cut that out now. Remember, my zipper allowance, what I put for the zipper allowance was 1.5. You can do 1 inch, you can do 1/2 inch, depends on you. So I'm just taking out my measurements, the dart measurement, the waist line, and I'm starting with my back. So remember the lines I took, my dart lines, and just drawing the straight line. Again, I would rather advise you measure what you have on the pattern on the fabric just to get the accurate measurement. So this turned out accurately actually when I eventually measured it at the end of this, but the other side I did not come out accurately. So I would actually tell you to actually measure it on the fabric. Don't do wuru to the answer. Don't start doing all that. It's not going to turn out great. And so I've done this line, I've drawn the line. Now this is the back. I was also trying to just do the fast and easy way, but it did not work out. So I had to go back in and take my accurate measurement because I noticed it was off. And so I'm just taking all the main points, all the main lines. Again, don't do this. Please don't do this. Just go to see. I'm trying to measure it to make sure it's accurate, and it's not. It's showing me about 5.5 what I took when the measurement is supposed to be 5 inches actually. So just do this. So retake your measurements. This is 5 inches. Can you see the difference? So just retake the measurements you see on the pattern, and that's actually even easier and saves more time instead of just turning it over and just trying to place it. Anyway, we're going to take the appropriate measurement that is on the block pattern 2 inches, we take 2 inches off when you're measuring the down that. Take half an inch on both sides and just draw the line. You know the drill. So it's just quite easy, actually, very easy. Nothing too complicated. So we're done with this, and remember we have a zip section. I'm just taking out the pin right now, and we're going to open up the back, because again, this is the back. There's zip that is supposed to go through this part, so I'm just going to open it up, and basically that's just it for the back. I'm just taking the other side of the measurement to make sure everything turns out well. That one actually turned out okay, but the other side would have been a lot worse. So I was not going to make the same mistake here, so I'm just going to measure this as it is on the basic block pattern. Okay, so I'm taking off my pins, and I'm just measuring it there. This is 3.5, my nipple to nipple. That's exactly what I'm going to measure here. My nipple to nipple is 3.5, so I'm just measuring that, and I'm going to roll that down. See, it took less than 10 seconds to do that. I know this is actually on speed, double speed, but still it will take you less than for you to be turning and using your hand to trace out. It doesn't make sense. So we're just going there and taking the two, so where that is going to end, I'm just measuring again. This is easier, honestly. It's really easier to do this than for you to be tracing out. And just go and draw your dart lines. Very easy. And draw on the other side too. So I'm taking out this side dart. The side dart, just do the same thing here. Draw the straight line and take out your dart measurement. So if you notice, I actually forgot to draw the other dart leg down, but that was just easy for me anyway. So we are done with the front part, and sorry, not front actually, we're done with half of the front part, and we're going to do the other half. So just watch, and same thing we did for the other side, we're going to do it here. So 3.5 for my nipple to nipple, and drawing a straight line. Okay, so here I'm trying to clean up. When I was drawing, I mistakenly just drew out of the ruler, and that happened. So yeah, so we're taking the dart line again, and here I definitely did draw my other leg, the other dart leg. I didn't draw it on the other side, so draw it, please. So we're taking this line again. That's the chest. Is it chest line or bust line rather? Bust line. And we're just going to take out our our side darts. So I'm done taking out all the darts, and we are just going to, again, it's an asymmetric top, so I'm just trying to outline how I want it to look. So I didn't actually draw it right now, or I did draw it a little bit, but I didn't exactly cut it out right now. I went and closed up my darts just to make everything turn out accurate. So I was still just testing out. I don't want a lot of cleavage showing. I don't really have much cleavage, but still. Anyway, I've taken out the darts. I've closed up the darts, and now it's time to actually draw the outline. I also closed up the zipper and parts just to make sure everything turns out accurately. I'm still going to open that back up, but this is what I'm going with now. I'm just trying different methods to see how it's going to come out. So eventually something eventually clicked, and I decided to go with that, and I went up a little bit just to make sure everywhere is covered. I don't want my bust coming out. So I just cut it out back and front the same. So if you see, it's not a straight line. There's a little bit of a curve going upwards. And again, this is all preference too. If you don't want it to come out like this, that's fine. If you want your if you want cleavage showing, you can just go down a little bit and it's fine. Okay, so we're going to be making, I didn't want a straight gown, but I already have like a little bit more of this kind of design, should I say design? So I wanted something a little bit straighter but not too straight. So this is, I went down my waistline, the waistline there I drew it, I went down by 2 inches, and the hip line down there I went up by 2 inches. And if you want, this is a preference thing, if you want it higher, you can as well make your basic top, you can make it longer to make sure the upper part is a lot bigger and this curve comes out more pronounced. I didn't want mine to be so pronounced because again I have a lot of this kind of gown, and I wanted something just very, very, I think very cute and very to the point. So you can see a very slight curve, but it's not very prominent. This is how it turned out. And yeah, so I've gone to press all that down. I've also hemmed the part where it needs to be hemmed. So this is the fabric I was using for the bottom part, and I just used my sewing machine to run it straight and just gathered it. That's very easy, it's not very complicated. So again, this is what it's turning out. I joined the front, the top and the bottom together, and I used my weaving machine to hem everywhere. So yeah, this part is not necessary, but I was just being extra. I used an elastic band, so I just put a little bit of an elastic band just to give it that ruche effect. So this is the zipper part now, and I'm going to close up my zip. If you want to see how this is done, I'm going to make a very, very detailed video. I think I was in a hurry to get this done, but a colleague of mine actually saw this gown, not this particular one though, a different one. Again, I said I've made like a lot of this gown. She saw me wearing it once and she wanted one, and I'm going to make one for her. She wants exactly what I was wearing there. It's a different style from this, but it's just the basic overall. And I'm going to be making it, and I'm going to show you the details of every single thing I did. And this is how it turned out. Very beautiful, very nice, very cutesy. So the rose on the top, I'm going to make a separate video on how I got that done. I didn't want this video to be too long. And again, this is a preference though. So the skirts at the bottom, I used 3 yards for it. I was thinking about it later on, and I was like, would 5 yards have been better? Would it have been better if it was fuller? So you can actually just take this as an advice and maybe use 5 yards. But if you like how it looks here, then go ahead and use 3 yards or 4. But I would have preferred it to be a little bit fuller, though that's just for me. The other one I've done was a lot thicker fabric, so 3 yards was fine. But this fabric is quite flimsy, it's very, very light. Please subscribe, like, share. Thank you. Comment. Thanks.